video number 4, October 2nd. Still, we are now driving home all the way back after a very, very successful day of dock diving. And earlier we were talking about apparitions and imprints and energy, and how the quote ghosts that many people see, it's Lisa's opinion that they're not so much ghosts that could interact with you as they are imprints of the people that lived or interacted in a certain area, and because of either the physical human being there for years and years doing the same thing and being tied to the land and loving the land, or a sudden traumatic event that released a large amount of energy, that these visions that people are seeing are sort of like a loop, a ripple, or an overlay of the people's energy after they pass. Okay, so now in video 4, we're going to veer into the next question, which is, we've talked about apparitions and shades and shadows and things. Now, what about your belief or your thoughts on actual ghosts, actual spirits, what people would say, this house is haunted. There is something here, whether it's good or bad, that I could communicate with, as it's almost like they have a second life in a way. The person has passed. It was a human at one point, but now it's in this spot and it's trying to speak to me, or moving things around my kitchen, or things like that. All right?
Okay, so
what are your thoughts on it?
Communicating with spirit is possible.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, yes. Numerous ways to do it. There's automatic writing. There's, Ouija boards. Don't play with them. Very bad personal experience here.
We'll get into that in
that
another
later.
video.
Clairvoyant, psychic mediums. Yeah, I do believe that people do have the ability of those. Average people being able to communicate with spirit, it's a little questionable with me. I think it's a lot of mumbo jumbo, people being like wanting to be able to communicate, like, oh my God, my dead grandmother is here and we chat every day. Yeah, no, not happening, because in order for an entity, a spirit, a ghost, whatever, to manifest or even be able to get out a partial sentence requires a hell of a lot of energy, and it drains the spirit. That's why a lot of times you'll hear on these shows or whatever, oh, I had a full battery in my camera and it just is now dead, just as the lights flickered, because that entity drew all the power it could from that area to just make that light flicker. Also, why, if you're in a haunted location and you're communicating with an entity, a spirit or whatever, and you may get an EVP, which is a voice, a recording of a voice you can't hear in actual time, but when you play it back on a recording, you can hear it. So,
okay, well, let's stop for a second. Okay, and let's rewind. So first, your opinions. Do you believe that at times when a person passes away, it's not their imprint that remains, it's their actual spirit, for whatever reason, does not move on from
their
this
energy,
world? Yes.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
With
if
their memories and their ability to interact.
yeah, I do believe that if someone passed away suddenly, or someone near and dear in their life, be it a spouse, a sibling, a child, is going through a traumatic period at the time of their passing, that they may linger to try to inform, console, or just get a message out to them. A last "I love you," or "I'm sorry, I'm gone. Wasn't planning on it. Had a heart attack. Kind of died. My bad." Yeah, I do believe that happens. What you were saying, or how I took it, was that normal Joe Blow saying that, oh, I have a entity in my home that I can communicate with on a daily. I can communicate with them. I don't believe that's possible because, like I said, it takes a lot of energy to come from that realm to this realm.
So you don't believe that when they pass away, they remain. You think they've moved somewhere else, whether it's a heaven or a hell or a purgatory or a tree or a branch, reincarnation, whatever you believe in.
Right.
You don't believe that they're preventing that like you would see in a movie. You believe they've gone to that and they're returning.
Yeah. I mean, once, and that's a hard question to answer because there's so many different thoughts and theories on it. I mean, like I said, okay, if someone is out there and they have a spouse who is dying and they're aware of an impending death from some sort of disease or whatever, and they know they only have months, years, or whatever, a very limited time left on this earth. So they are preparing for that final stage along with their family, their loved ones. Be it spending more time with them, having memories with them, reminiscing of past lives with them, trying to remember to say everything they want to say and put out there to them. But say they go to the doctor and doctor says, you're doing pretty good, you're looking pretty good, you got another 6 months. And a week and a half later, they die. So they thought in their mind that they had that final 6 months to, this is the final play.
Or something even more sudden, like a car accident.
Right,
Something like
right.
that. Okay.
So I wanted to do this, this, and this on my list before I was gone. I wanted to make sure my wife and family were stable and all their worries were met and all their concerns were taken care of before I left them. And now I don't have that opportunity, so therefore I'm going to try to keep my energy here in this realm with them, to at least somehow or another figure out a way to let them know I'm here with them and I'm going through it with them. So yes, I do believe it's possible. Do I believe that being said, that person's spirit, once it has passed on, has that immediate ability to communicate with their loved one? No. I mean, there may be something, and that if you've ever personally been around someone when they pass, in that very intimate setting, that something may take place in that moment that numerous people see and acknowledge. Did you see that happen? Okay, maybe that was that person's signal sign to them that, hey, I'm out of here. You saw it, that, yes. But do I think that you could get an EVP or some kind of physical something as soon as this person passes? No, because it requires too much energy. They are a new spirit. all of the energy has been zapped out of them because they just died. So it takes time to build that energy. It's just like if a baby was born and all of a sudden stood up walking and talking out of the womb. It don't happen. They have to learn that stuff. Just like they would have to learn it in the other realm. How do I physically, again, back to the movie Ghost, how do I physically put that cup from here to knock it over so they know I'm here? They have to learn how to transfer that energy. It's not going to happen within a few minutes, a few days, a few weeks even. There have been, there are times when people will say, well, so-and-so passed away, and I've been talking to them daily, nightly, come to me, give me a sign. A lot of people are very big on that, give me a sign. If there's anyone here, give me a sign. So a sign could be something as simple as a small breeze that you don't even notice to a bookshelf falling over. But is that the actual sign that your loved one or the person you're trying to get contact with is actually giving you? Because when you open up that realm and this is why it's a difficult question, because it goes into so many different avenues.
Okay, but we'll get there. So try to focus on the difference between the memory of energy and
That's not what you asked.
I know. I guess what the question is, do you believe in spirits and ghosts and hauntings, but not always necessarily in a bad way? People attach haunting to a bad thing.
I don't consider a haunting
right
a negative thing.
Yeah.
There are negative entities out there. There are malicious entities out there. Yes, I do believe that.
Okay.
I do believe an area, a location could be haunted.
Right.
Now, is it truly haunted by an individual who used to partake in that space? Or is it haunted by the residual energy that has built up over time?
Okay. And I think that's what I was kind of getting at, because some people, and we've already touched on a few taboo subjects in the bringing up of the relatively recent 9/11. But when people speak of ghosts, hauntings, spiritual things, paranormal, there's so much interlaced with at least the Western Hemisphere's idea of religion. If you read into Judeo-Christian religion, it's you pass away, your spirit, which is your soul, leaves this realm. We always see it as rising to heaven, going to hell, down to below, because we have to have an up and a down in our brain. But it leaves this realm. If you believe in purgatory, it stays in purgatory until you are judged, or it remains there forever. But let's say you're judged, then you're sent to heaven or hell. So I think the next topic really is, it's asking your opinions on it, but I guess maybe I didn't clarify, which it's good that we're clarifying in this way, is for the super, very dedicated religious, they might have an okay or an easier time saying that when a person dies, their soul does depart this realm forever and ever. There is no such thing as haunting. It is not Lisa Morgan who I am ever seeing or speaking to. But I can buy into the energy is never lost, and I'll have an imprint of a fake Lisa that I'll put my hand through. She will never look my way. She will never talk to me. She will go about her daily business. So that's like one stage of a ghostly image. So then the question then became, is okay, we've acknowledged that, and I actually do as myself accept that because energy can never be lost. If you are doing something and you are changing the world, nature in your zone, and you're doing it repeatedly or through trauma, that my imprint will never leave. But that's not someone I could talk to. That's not someone who can move that cup. So then the next question is, okay, you believe in that, but do you personally, even if it's a hard question, believe that a soul, whatever you want to call it, Lisa who recognizes me, Lisa who could turn and put her face towards mine, look at me, and have interactions with me that's not a duplicate of what we lived already. New interactions. Can that remain in this world? And I guess you already sort of in a way answered that. That if there's unresolved...
I don't believe the spirit has to rest.
Right.
Just like humans have to rest. So, can that energy hang around? I'm sure it's possible, but
you yourself.
It's hard to say yes or no, because if it's hanging around and it's used all its energy to flicker the light or to make the curtains glow or to give you a brief touch that you feel, it's going to take time to build that energy back up. So therefore, that goes to where it doesn't happen every day, but it may happen every other month.
Okay.
We'll hear something. We'll hear footsteps. We'll hear something. You know, the doorknob will turn or whatever. Because it takes that much energy. You know, it's not going to be like they muster up all this energy and then all of a sudden the lightning surges through them and they're like, and can open the door and be like, hey!
Right. And that's, some people do picture that. And
they believe that.
It's a very movie Hollywood
right.
version, but that was based in someone's belief that you could literally be living in a home with your ghostly
right.
grandma, you know,
yeah, you
or
could
a
be,
lost
but it's
loved
going
one.
to be...
You don't...
It's going to be the energy of her spirit that her physical body left here.
Right.
It's not going to be the energy once it's passed, because all actions and activities that took place when the soul is in the body,
right,
in the pod, in the whatever you want to call it, the vessel.
Mm-hmm. Whether animal, human, whatever.
Right. No matter what, plant, animal, human, tree, whatever you want to call it. Once spirit leaves that vessel is dead.
Right.
To the spirit. I can no longer go back into it and re-inhabit that spirit. It is dead. It is...
It's rotting.
It's inanimate.
Yeah.
It's rotting. It's dead. It's no more use to me. So the spirit has to find other ways to communicate. So what they're seeing in their day-to-day daily hauntings, in my opinion, is the past vessel energy imprints of their life in that space. When the coffee cup slides off of the counter, that is proof of the new energy that is now manifesting in spirit to give you that sign.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so. It's a reason why, you know, ghosts wouldn't age.
Exactly.
The ghosts, the one that we're talking about now, which is new interactions.
Right.
You know, Lisa has passed away 2 years ago. Her soul has moved on, but something has stayed in this realm. Hasn't moved to heaven, hell, purgatory, or nature, or whatever you believe.
My energy has imprinted enough on this earth in my time in this space
to stay.
To stay.
But not just in a repeated reel of film in a different manner.
Right. So say, okay, let's use that as a scenario. I passed away 2 years ago.
Yep.
2 years later, you're still grieving.
Right.
My physical energy now in spirit, I do believe, has the ability to check in on their loved ones. So I would know that you're grieving. So I would want to come back to that place to comfort you or give you a sign that I'm okay where I'm at. You know, it's okay. I'm good.
Or to tell me something.
I'm not sick. I'm not in pain. Or hey, don't forget about that safe I told you we hid 2 years ago with billions of dollars for when one of us passed. Remember, you're a squirrel. It's underneath of this. I would have to come back and tell you that because you would forget. But, you know, I also believe in that theory, okay, of people moving into a haunted location, is that energy is drawn to energy, right? Negative to positive, you know. So it's drawn. That's what draws the spirit. So if, let's say, you and I lived in a place for 60 years, and then I passed away 2 years ago,
and I move,
and you move 2.5, 3 years later, and I have finally developed the energy I need to come back to give you the sign or the whatever you requested, and I show up, you're not there. It's new people.
right?
So me going through my daily routine of this, trying to get you to notice, well, wow, it feels really drafty here. It's a cold spot. What the heck, that light didn't low, so it doesn't flicker all the time, it just didn't. You're not there to know it. But the new people, it's new to them.
Right.
So they would immediately go, what was that sound? What was that? But you, the person who had been there for 60 years, would immediately know. You know, that's the sound it used to make when Lisa walked across the floor there. So it must be her. You know, so I believe that's how people can move into haunted or quote-unquote haunted locations.
At times.
At times, because the spirit has come back to interact with its person still in this realm, and their person isn't here anymore. And that's why you'll get a lot of people, you know, mediums and whatnot, that will go to haunted locations and say, I can help you move the spirit on. The spirit is confused. It came back here as a place of remembrance, as a place of, this is my home. And it's no longer my home, but I don't understand, because when I left this home 2.5 years ago, they were here. But my spirit doesn't realize it was 2.5 years ago. My spirit thinks it was 2 seconds ago. There is no time in the afterlife.
Right.
They have no...
Which pretty much has been established by every known religion. That
Exactly.
time does not exist. One day is to a minute, as to a year, as to a decade.
To a millennium.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is, that follows pretty much the beliefs across the board.
Right.
For,
And that's why
to
when
some
people
extent.
say, oh, I seen so-and-so that has passed away and they look so good. They look so healthy. They look so
happy,
young,
they
happy
look
and young.
healthy. They
Because all of their earthly problems have left them.
look, right.
They no longer feel pain. They no longer are hungry.
You're basically just manifesting what they think you want to see,
Right.
which is them in their best light.
Exactly.
But they'll never have a dye job. They'll never have a shorter haircut. They'll never have,
Right.
you know,
so
they're-
every time they see this person, it's going to be that cardboard cutout image.
right. But a
What their
perfect
mind-
version.
Puts as reality, but a reality they can accept.
Okay.
If the true reality was, I come back to see you 6 years after I'm dead, 20 years after I'm dead, and you see a rotting corpse in front of you, I don't care how much you love that person, you're going to pretty much freak out and not want to be communicating with them.
Right.
So, the
Or if
blind's
I
eye-
see a version of you that existed 15 years ago before we met.
Right.
There- I mean, you never hear about things like that.
Right.
And it, you know, it's not like, I guess it's not
Again,
like
it
the,
freezes a frame
in my
time.
brain, you know,
in
and
your time frame of knowing that person.
right.
And chances are, if you sit back and think on it, what your mind's eye is seeing is the happiest moment you have with that person.
So healthy,
A
happy.
healthy, happy, laughing, smiling, best day of their life
Right.
that they had with you.
All right, we're going to end there just to keep the video at a manageable amount, and then we'll be back.